All right, welcome in everyone. Welcome in. It's time for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I hope you guys are ready and excited and looking forward to it. I know I am. I'm trying to get my game to be full screen. It is not right now. Hang on, let's see. Oh my gosh. Can we please? I might need to reload it. Let's see, why is it not? It's like in a window right now. Let's change it to, oh, it only has those two options. Why is it? I don't know. I'm gonna reload it real fast. Oh wait, there it goes. Oh, now it's fine. Anyways, we are going to be playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles today. Last time we had braked for a recess because I think they were bringing in more witnesses. So we're going to pick up where we left off. I'm not sure what all we're going to find out today, but it should be interesting. So let's go ahead and get an intro and let's hop in. So here we go. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today we're playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and in today's episode, we're going to be returning from our recess with some new witnesses. What are we going to find out? What secrets will they have to reveal? I don't know. Let's hop in and find out. Oh boy, here we go. Let's see. 2nd of November, 12:33 p.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. So this is during our recess. Ah, there you are, Odo. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. Are you sure about what you said in there? That the boss, you know, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission? Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. Scythe. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zieks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those Leaguemen too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuthhound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze, and it was me what took them in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuthhound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks. And Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. The recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. Oh boy. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. Why? And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Oh boy. Are you ready then, Mrs. Sato? Yes. Off we go then. Back to court. The 2nd of November, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, man. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Barak von Zieks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Shogi. My lord. Have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the 2 members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom. Oh boy. Well. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabian de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice in France. And my name is Peppino Di Rossi. He loves him some spaghetti. I am the 3rd son of the great Familia Di Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. The 2 men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Timsik are the future leaders of Europe. What? Do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Alos. I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grain cells of my brain. He's Hercule Poirot. He's red, Hercule Poirot. That is all I am trying to do. So that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out. Oh, you could say that. Not bad, eh? It has the grand ideas, but the petty plans. This strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. The couple? He's like, well, listen to me, Peppino. I have 2 things to say to you. Echi, are you about to tell me one of your grand anecdotes? Viva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Jabello, there it is, the capo's trumper card, the furrowed brow. It is deep, capo, the furrowed, the meaning of your words? The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, c'est ça. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Alors, I will explain it. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the Trevi fountain. Oh, those dogs. One day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and... C'est bien, Peppino, enough. I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. Indeed we did. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement, and from each person present, the pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France, it was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk, like a coster's orange barrel. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these 2 men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oh, oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now every time I see the couple's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. Oh boy. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph, Capo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Hello, this victim is nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Popina. It is not your fault that we got caught in the first place. Or it is your fault? Did he say it is your fault? You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview these men. Nobody looking like this came to the park at this, I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances. I mean, that's true. Oof, with this attitude, we get to nowhere, huh? He's really a sulkin now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary, dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that that's when he was killed. Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Oh boy. Yes, my lord. Oh boy. Here we go. I didn't see anything right off the bat, so hopefully something comes up in our cross-examination. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day.
Hold it!
1,000 people? That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Redheads had come from all over the capital. Is he the capo here? He has the magnetismo animal, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino, the £4 per week. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? Oui, that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names, and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. Then I tell them we take us some days to let them know by a post. If finito, maybe 2 minuti a person. We start early in the morning, and we stop late in the night. So you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. Oh boy. But I don't recall this man in this photograph, Capo?
Hold it!
He doesn't look at all familiar? No, I don't think so. And this is a guy. He was trying to trick us. Really? Really? You think you're upset about that? I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. So you don't like yourself? Says the con artist. Exactly. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, senor. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. Is that so? In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. I don't know about that. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Capo, you didn't see a man like this, huh? No, I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now. But I assure you, he was not in the park.
Hold it!
But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oh, oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face? How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, but not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. Then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we would recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Kazuma said these two had only been shown that photograph, and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, his name, his profession, his fish and chips. His fish and chips. He always had his fish and chips. He surely would have had it, right? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was only looking at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon. Oh, spaghetti, me, I love the spaghetti. Really? I had no idea. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. See, Capo, see, I say it again and again. Okay, so we may have to go back to that one and feed something else. Aloha, this victim is nothing to do with us.
Hold it!
But we only have your word for that. See, but what else can we do, huh? True. We are not having much fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Aye, Capo? No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. You had to bring that up, aye? It's not fair. Aye, Capo? You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place.
Hold it!
What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Cavalo, you promised not to say, aye, Capo? After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk to my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops. See, but it is an easy mistake to make. The 1st, the 31st. Well, I have no sympathy for you. We were all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. And it's only because of this so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It's a holy punishment, aye? Peppino, for the last time, this is not holy punishment. This is only your fault. Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a faster. And I've seen the evidence. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely, if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. So I think what we do is we go back through, and on the statement where we can add more information, we're going to mention his name, because he said they were taking down their names and addresses, right? So maybe they'll remember his name. So let's do that. It wasn't this one. It wasn't this one. It was this one. So let's press this statement.
Hold it!
And then let's skip forward. Alright. Normally it's very distinctive. Alright, so let's see. If we can add a name. Alright, so, but what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, so if we can feed them his name, because that was on the application. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is Monsieur Gregson? Yes. Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them. Oh. It was not a real interview. It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names? That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we have already said. I see. It seems there's a little to be gained from pursuing this point further. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. Si, Capo, si. I say it again and again. I wonder if we have some evidence that we could present on that statement that talked about his alternative name. Let's see. Gregson's photo. We could maybe present that photo, because the murder photo, it does show that it doesn't match. So I don't understand. What if we say profession? We may just have to go back. Let's go back through. Let's skip all the way back through and let's try the profession, right? Because that's the only option. Maybe he introduced himself as a cop, or maybe they could tell he was a cop. That could be a possibility. All right. Press this one.
Hold it!
Alright, so then we get back to the options. Alright, we'll try option 3. Alright, almost there. Alright. See, that makes me think we need to present evidence. Okay, so what if we tell them his profession? Maybe that'll loosen their lips. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man in the red hair piece was actually a detective? The man is a photograph, a detective? Yes? It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Oh boy. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Hello?
Excuse me.
Something to add, Mr. DeRossi? He's like, see, I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? What did he just say about the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Geppo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What? Good Lord! So he was there. Order, order, order! Explain this volte-face in your testimony, witness. I don't know what that word was. It's simple. A man who was out of the park said to us that there was no such man. My day, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection!
Oh boy. They're both objecting. Chapter, the damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. Oh, oui. There was a man who came to the park, and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. It was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because, to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was the younger. His face was clean-shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was thinner. No resemblance whatsoever, then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, "If you're really a detective, show us the proof." See, the capo here, he doesn't take no nonsense, aye? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity? Unless maybe he was trying to establish that Gregson was there somehow? Clearly, the papers were fake. Certo, capo, you are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes the thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? He became very annoying. He said, "You are under investigation." So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastical. And look, here is the identification. So you stole it from the man. He added to Carmen. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said that he was. Who was he then? Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence. But I like them. Okay. We're gonna have to examine that. Now let us return to the witness's testimony. Alright, but first we're going to examine that paper, that identification. Let's look at this. Metropolitan Police warrant card. Okay, let's open it. Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. There's no picture. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? The Scotland Yard insignia. Looks genuine to me. But how? And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say? I know it seems incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all? Okay, it's Inspector Gregson's police identification. It's the official warrant card issued to him by Scotland Yard. Okay, well, where do we present that then? Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us. Maybe we present it just very much right here. Because obviously it has something to do with you.
Objection!
I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why, Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, counsel? Is this really a fake or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer ourselves. Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. That is the boss's, no question about it. It can't be. As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Zutelos! Oh my goodness. Order! Order! But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he'd say. Could it be, then, that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically, what are you saying? Unable to, you're not suggesting. Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. No. I mean, that could be. Order, order, order! The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? Oy! No, nothing. Oy! I done nothing. Oy! Pull yourself together, Peppino. Mon Dieu, you can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, no? Oy! Now I wished I had returned to Italia. Oy! Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Oh, me, stop your whining and start talking. Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerably great... I know nothing. Wee, I done nothing. Wee. So much chaos. But you will tell everything or face the worst possible outcome. Ugh, ugh. Oh man, you will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them. For crying out loud, exactly. Oh man, so much chaos in the courtroom. The detective and the identification. Oh boy. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification, found him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Oh man, I can see why they're upset. This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man? But no, see, no. It was not like a prison. It was very comfortable and calm and happy. Aye, Capo? He's like, we're ruined. It was never part of my plan, I swear it. Oof, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong by one little day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No, per favor, Capo. It is not fair. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen. Oh, I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective? Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. So, on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout. Okay. Well, let's see what we can figure out here. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Hold it! Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me. I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think... But there was nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. It was the first crime for the capo. He was at the end of his wits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind. What about this hideout of yours? An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the capo here. An impulsive idea, I would say. No, not impulsive. Inspired, aye, capo? What am I supposed to say to that, Peppino? And it was in the house described that you confined Inspector Gregson, was it? Ugh, oui. But you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a pretender, not a real inspector. That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you are right, but we couldn't be completely certain. Oh boy. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. Hold it! Too scared? Why? Because why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance that he had seen through my plan. And if that was the case, he would go straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning to be an inspector, he was up to no good, huh? Without a doubt. I think most people would agree that it's you two who were up to no good. Well, see, you may be right. Aye, capo? The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. See, I asked myself the same question. We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who we took 5 shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard, Homicide Division, he said. What? He probably didn't like your face, Bobino. Anyway, I was not rude. I just politely asked him why he had said it. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterwards, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say. See, we did. Then what? We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. Hold it! That being this identification book here, correct? See, that is the one. What made you believe that it was a forgery? I never seen a real one, of course, but he was so suspicious, this man. Allora, I was thinking it must be false, so I capo? It is just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine. And so together, the hilarious brothers, we took the man captive. All we did was shove him inside a locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all of the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. Boy. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. Hold it! What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? Boff. It was nothing, just a minor incident. The false inspector, he was a real piece of other work, aye, capo? What happened? It was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what does he do, huh? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through the ventilator. Can you blame him? We chased him, bien sir, and we caught him again. Can you blame us? Yes. Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? Zoot. Who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply got hold of him again and took him back to the room.
Excuse me.
Mr. De Rossi, is something wrong? It's always him giving it away. Me? Something Mr. De Rousseau just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Cavalo, at times like this, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from personal experience. Personal experience? That is enough, Babino. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed league plan into action, I was scared. I was not to fire to the capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But the capo here, he came after me like the turbine, huh? And he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it, capo? Bruises, you say? You want to see, huh? You want to see my fantastical bruises? That's enough now, Papino. No one wants to look at any part of you. What to do, huh? I show you or I don't. I show you or I don't. You do. Now. And Laura, if everybody wants to see it, then you do it. It looks like he was, like, dragged back by his throat. Echo, you see, it's still very visible, That red ring around your neck, you got that when you were dragged back to the house? See, the capo, sometimes he is very rough. I said, that's enough. Peppino's neck has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. You have my word. Are you sure about that? Yes. What is your opinion, Counsel? About this red ring around Mr. De Rossi's neck? I wonder. Does it matter? I think it might be. Let's look at the photograph again. Didn't he have a ring around his neck, or did he? It doesn't show it, but I swear I've seen that somewhere. Oh, I saw it on the witnesses, right? Remember the guy with the big lips? He had a ring around his neck. Yeah, it's important. Mr. De Rossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck. Hey, Capo, you see? Everyone is interested in what to say, because maybe that means they were in league with these two guys, right? By forced league. Very well, you will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rossi. See, if you really wanted to know. He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar on him and dragged him back, like what he did to me, see?
Hold it!
Are you saying that red mark was caused by... See, a big collar made from the leather. A leather collar. Is this true, Mr. De Rousseau? Well, we had a Saint Bernard at home when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time with a very strong chain. A strong chain. And you put that around your friend's neck? I'm sorry. I was so angry that he was leaving me alone. You did not have to tie the chain to the leg of the bed, although I would not have tried to run again. You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Treat the people equal is the capo's motto, It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden. The capo is tough, but the capo is rough. I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning when you released the inspector? He had the red ring around his neck, just like me. Wait a second. That's the big-lipped guy that has the ring. And they said he was smooth-faced, young. They're the ones, those street sellers are the ones that actually had something to do with this. Because he's the one that had the mark. Papino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now. Now, you know, the capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But for the inspector, it's not so bad. I spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like a prison, really. Ooh.
Hold it!
You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you make it sound, you were still holding him prisoner. If you want to say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too, the lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, huh? All of us? Huh? No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad and it makes me sad, but what can we do? Well, if you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court, though it'll cost you, of course. Oh, for there you have it. You see, that is why we need the Red-Headed League, to fight for the justice. Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruhodo. All we did was to give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. And you say it was a prison, huh? Huh? Perhaps he has a point again. No, again, Mr. Naruhodo. You should have heard him snoring. My day, if anyone was disturbed, it was us. Not much to go on, really. Their testimony does make me wonder, you know, about this pocket watch belonging to the inspector, I mean. Oh yes, the one he treasured so much, apparently. If he was confined but not restrained, as the witnesses are implying, he would still have been able to wind his watch. That's very true, yes. So did Inspector Gregson actually die while he was being held captive by these redheads? In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's? To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. Alright, so where do we present the watch to them? What statement what do we use to countermand this intelligence, right? This information that we've been given? Do we just present the watch about how he was comfortable? Let's give that a try first and see. Alright. We took him, shut him in the room next to ours. Tried to escape. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like a prison, really. It doesn't really feel... I think we present it to the one about the identification, right? Let's present it to the identification, because then in theory he should have his watch. We need to clarify that, right? So let's go back to that statement about where he said he took the pocket watch, because I feel like that might be more tantamount to what happened, right? Because he could have wound his watch if he still had it. So we need to find out. We took the man's identification from him and shot him in the room next to ours. What about his watch? Alright, so present the watch.
Objection.
Oh, okay. Darn it, that's not the right one. That last statement was contradictory in a number of ways, I think you'll find. In a number of ways, you say? That's right, my lord. In a number of ways. Perhaps it will serve you well to concentrate your efforts on one contradiction at a time, Counsel. Ugh, I made a bit of a mess of that in a number of ways, actually. Okay. So which one do we do it on then? I'm not sure. I know that there's gotta be a way to do it, but what would be the best way to handle it, I wonder? Maybe it's this one, perhaps, because he doesn't have the collar on it, right? So maybe we show the picture that he doesn't have the collar mark on his throat, right? Perhaps? Let's give that a try. We'll see. I'm not 100% convinced, but we'll see. All right, so let's get back to that statement. Oh boy. All right. Let's see. It's not this one, right? He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar on him and dragged him back, like what he did to me, see? So, if we look at the photograph, though, there's no marks on his neck. What if we present that?
Objection!
So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was like an invitation to stay. It was only... However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. There's no marks on his neck. You will see there is no red ring visible around his neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning, and I saw the red bruises on his neck just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. De Rossi. Indeed, that is most peculiar. What we tell you, We say this from the beginning many times. Peppino is right. The man in the photograph is someone different to the man we held captives that night. Of course he is, because they held the street peddler. Order, order, order! It would appear that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street, posing as an incognito inspector, was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. If it's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day, which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? Of course we do. The whole thing defies explanation. I know what happened. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo, because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious! Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi? It was an imposter. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
No. On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? It's just, we gotta move back the timeline a little. There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with a dog collar. Mon Dio, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say, huh? So who was that default suspector? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? Well, that would be you, good sir.
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that one of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today? A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passerby.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? What indeed? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What does happen to his lip? See, this man is not for the red-headed league, he is looking for the twisted lip league, no? Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck, a red ring of bruising. What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand, because he is definitely involved with this. Order! Order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom. Immediately! Oh boy. Well, I never! An undeniable ring of bruising indeed, and identical to that of the witness beside him. Now, what's going on here, eh? I've always had this meat. It's a birthmark, isn't it? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Somewhat about an inspector again. But I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it? Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? We're in a big trouble, Capo. That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. Oh boy. Of course, we're going to wait a bit on that, So let's go ahead and give it a little save. And we'll start that line of questioning next time. So let's see. Let's save this. Okay. And now let's go back to the title. Oh boy. Don't save. Yes. All right. Well, that was certainly a peculiar turn of events. Not what I expected, but it did tie up one little mystery, perhaps, of where the ring around Gossip's neck came from. Was he the killer? I mean, we were already suspicious of that whole group's testimony with the firecrackers and just the constant lying about everything. What are we going to find out about what really happened? Well, maybe we'll be able to uncover some more truths in the next episode. So if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Liara27. I have my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games we're playing each day, I post them on x.com/Liara27. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye. All right. Well, that will be it for today, guys. Let's go ahead and get our goodbye music going. We will be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. We're going to be playing some TCG Card Shop Company again, or Simulator again. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be playing that, but I definitely want to get a little farther progressed in my shop. So I might put it on pause for a little bit. We'll just have to see. But then after that, we're going to be heading back into Mist 3. So that'll be interesting. I'm looking to see who we can raid right now, who all is on and what they are doing. Let's see. I'm not sure who we should raid. We're looking. Let's raid Valzy. She is, speaking of TCG Card Shop Company, she's one of the people that I raided when we were playing TCG Card Shop Company. So it looks like now she's playing Final Fantasy 16. So maybe. It looks odd, so I'm not sure. Maybe that's what that is. But anyways, it looks interesting. But we'll head that way. We will be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, everybody who hung out with me today. And I look forward to hanging out with you again tomorrow for some more gaming fun. So I will see you guys then. Until then, bye.